Kadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Zevachim, Davav Amud Aleph. Okay, we are going to start with as follows. We just said that Shutafin are not able to do Memirin. What is Memirin? They cannot do Tumura, right? Tumura is the substitute. You remember? That's what we spoke about. So says the Gemara, Shane Hatan Damar Kra. It's different over there. The Pasuk says, Im Hamer Yamid. When it says Im Hamer Yamid, it's Lerabot et Yoresh, right? Which Echad Memid Ven Sham Memirim. So he says over here, so that's coming to include that even the Yoresh, but he comes and he says, no, but that's only one person, not two people. Meaning there's a Gzerat HaKatuv that two Yorshim cannot do Meminim, right? Sorry. Which means that even though you have two people which are owners of the Korban, because now they're Yorshim, but they do not do the Memirim. So this is where we're going to be starting from. Matkifla. Yeah, Vav Amud Aleph. Matkifla, Rav Yaakov, yeah, Minehar Pekod. 2, 4, 5 lines down. Right? Matkifla Rav Yaakov Minehar Pekod. Ela meata. We're going to ask the following question. Gabe Maaser Dichtiv by Maaser it's written Gaoli Gal. What does that mean? Lerabot et Yoresh. That's coming to include a Yoresh that if the person dies and he leaves Maaser Sheni, when you redeem it, you have to add a Chomesh. Remember, what is Maaser Sheni? Years? Iowa. You went for left field and you got the 3 strikes. No. 1, 2, 4, 5. Iowa, that was already 6 strikes and you're out. Right? 1, 2, 4, 5. 3 and 6 is Maaser Ani, and 7 is Shemitah Bichlal. There's nothing. Right? So one more time. 1, 2, 4, 5. Maaser Sheni. Right? What is Maaser Sheni? Maaser Sheni is that you take the fruits, the second 10%, but the first 10% goes to the Lewi. Right? And he takes 10%, it goes to the Kohen. That's called Trumot Maaser. It goes to the Kohen. Maaser mina Maaser. Maaser from the Maaser. It goes to the Kohen. First Maaser goes to the Lewi. Maaser Sheni goes to you. But in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, you have to eat it inside of Jerusalem. So you take your fruits, right, the 10%, the second 10%, and you go to Jerusalem. And you have to eat it inside of Yerushalayim. What happens if you're not going to go right now? So you're going to redeem it. And then when you go to Jerusalem, you're going to have money for your shawarma and whatever you want. So you have to add a chomesh. You have to add a 20% value to the money. So for example, if you had $100 of fruit, you have to add 20% to that. Capish?
Who was that?
You, when you redeem it, meaning you want to eat it now, and then you're going to take the money and you're going to use it in Yerushalayim when you go up to Aliyah L'Regel. So what you do is you redeem it, but when you redeem it, you have to add a 20% value, and then what? From yourself, yeah. It's yours anyway. And then what you do is when you go to Yerushalayim, you have now the 100 plus whatever it is. Let's say 120 because it was a 20%. Okay, until here we're clear? So it says here, L'rabot et Yoresh, that also the Yoresh also has to redeem it. When he redeems it, that means the father died. Right? Now when the Yoresh is going to redeem the father's 20%, meaning that extra percent that the Maaser Sheni, he has to add also 20%. So to here, it's only going to be 1 goel, not 2, right? Which means that let's say he's left it over to the 2 children. So therefore they could redeem it, right? And they could actually they have to actually add on the 20% or not. So says the Gemara, Shane Maaser, it's different Maaser, because they're partners as well. Which means, right, they're the Maaser Sheni, there's also Shutafut. Because if the 2 Shutafim are in the Maaser, they could come and they could redeem, yeah? They could redeem and add the 20% because we didn't see that they were excluded from Shutafut from there. Okay? Elmaleh Rav Asi le Rav Ashi. So says Rav Asi to Rav Ashi, Umina, right? If you're going to tell me now that they're going to come and they're going to acquire it, because then you're going to tell me that one yes. But if you're going to tell me la kanyale, that they're not going to acquire it, how are they going to come and they're going to do a tmura? Remember, tmura is a substitute. That you come and take another animal and you substitute for it. But if you're going to tell me they didn't even acquire it, so how are they going to make a substitute? It's not even theirs. That means if the person was magdish a korban, in order that it should be a kapara, right? To do the tosefet chomesh when he's going to do the pidyon, it's considered, right, magdish kebe'alim. And he has to add the extra tmura, which is going to be the extra fifth. Okay, here you're adding the 1/5 is 20%. Yeah. So it comes out, a person that's going to separate, right, maaser of his for his friend. So it's going to be to tovatana also. right? So it comes out that the Baalim are able to do the Tmura for the Mitkaper and the Korban. And if you're going to tell me that it's not a Kinyan for the Yoresh, how does he do a Tmura? You understood that concept? Meaning, I could take Maaser for you. It's like I could pay your taxes, so I could take Maaser for you. You understood? No, just that way you should know. Yeah? Yeah. Meaning you give it for your friend. So, for example, let's say you have to give the 10% to the Levi. I could come and I could give it for you. Right? You didn't know? No, you would have thought to say, listen, he has to give it himself. No. I could do it for you. It's called Tovatana. I could come and I could give you that. I could pay for you. To the Levi on behalf of you. I could give it on behalf of you. Okay? So says the Gemara, Mikva lo mechapra, mikufyach mechapra. He says the Korban is not mechaper on the Yoresh, a kapara kvua gmura, but it's a kapara klusha. It's a very weak one. It's not a strong kapara. Right? And therefore, that's why he's not considered Baalim Gemurim, meaning he is considered a Baal, meaning it is considered that this inheritor is the owner, but it's a weaker type of a kapara. So since it's a weaker type of a kapara, that's why he didn't call him 100% like an owner. Okay? Fine. Ibailehu. We're going to ask the following question. Kipru alma shebau. Right? Which means on the one, if they did the atonement, on the one that sinned, or lo kipru, or not. So when they're going to come and they're going to bring it shelo lishma, is it an atonement or not? Samar of Shisha bered Ravidi mistabra lo kipru. Obviously, it's not going to be an atonement. If you're going to tell me kipru, sheni lama ba, why do you have to bring a second one? Meaning, one more time, the guy comes and he brought the first korban. He brought it to the Kohen, and the Kohen was on his phone, so he wasn't paying attention. And then the Kohen comes and he does the kapara for somebody else. So what do we say? You have to bring another one, right? So the question is, was he mitkaper with the first one? So we say obviously not, because if not, then why does he have to bring in a second one? So says the Gemara, lama ukarev. If you're going to tell me now that Behemet it was going to be a kapara, so then why is it going to be brought? So Amar Rav Shisha, Ravashi, Rav Shisha, this was the question. If you're going to tell me it's not a good kapara, shelo lishmo mikoach lishmo kaati, so if you're going to tell me that it was not a kapara, it's muvan why they're going to bring the second korban. Because the first one was an lo lishma, and it came from the lishmo, because at the end it was lishma, right? Meaning that when the owner brought it, it was lishma. It was only afterwards that it became lo lishma, when the Kohen was busy with his phone. Yeah, that's when it became lo lishma. But before, and it was lishma. The sheni lemauba. So why does it come then the second one? So he says lechaper as an atonement. So elai amarta, if you're going to tell me now kipru sheni lemauba, so why does it come? So ibai lehu. So we're going to ask the following question. Are you going to tell me that the olah is going to be mechaper also mitzvot said that you do after the separating of the korban or not? Olo mechapra. Meaning like this. We learned yesterday, and I told you that the olah, korban olah, is mechaper on mitzvot aseh, positive commandments. So let's say, for example, you didn't come to the silichot this morning. Yeah? So somebody didn't come. So therefore, they need an atonement. So therefore, you got nothing, because it's not a mitzvah to say, right? But I have to poke at you anyway. So what happens is like this. One more time. So let's say you didn't put on tefillin. Tefillin is mitzvah to say. You're mevatel mitzvah to say. So you have a korban what? Korban olah. The question now that we ask ourselves is, you separated a korban olah yesterday, and today you forgot tefillin. Meaning you didn't put on the tefillin. So can I use the yesterday's korban which was separated? It wasn't brought. If it's brought, before being brought. I separated it. This is a korban olah. And now the next day you come and you didn't put on tefillin. And now you're going to bring it to the Kohen 2 days later. So can that korban olah that you separated, can that also atone for a mitzvah aseh that you did after it was separated, before it was brought, or not? That's the question. Yeah. So he says, "Mi amnina do we say mi dava chatat?" It's like a chatat. Ma chatat, just like a chatat. The second that you separated kaddish, that means if it happened before the separation, you could use it. If it's after the separation, no. So to here the same thing. Or Dilma, maybe you can compare it to the chatat. Tichatat al kol on every one you bring one chatat. So for example, he came and he wasn't paying attention to learning Torah. He was matel Torah. Right? He was on the phone. So he brings one chatat. Right? 2 minutes, of course. Bitul Torah. Chayav mitah. הרי זה מתחייב בנפשו. It's even worse. Chayav mitah. Yeah? Of course. You could go check it. So what happens is that on every single Avera, you have another Chatat. The Korban Olah is one for everything. It's a package deal. So maybe you can't compare them. So that's the question. So says the Gemara, Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. He says, what does it mean when you're going to do samach yado, smicha? And then it says v'nitzalo. V'nitzalo means you get atoned. This is what the smicha is what makes you get atoned. The kapara is only in the blood. It's nothing to do with smicha, right? But it says ki adamu b'nefesh yichaper. Ela matalmud. So what does it teach you then? V'samach v'nitzal lechaper. Shimasal smicha shireh mitzvah. That if you did it like a shireh mitzvah, which means you didn't do it, right? You didn't do the smicha on the korban because you didn't chashash that it was mitzvah smicha. It wasn't important. So ki'ilu that you just didn't do it. Maleh alav hakatuv ki'ilu lo kiper. So it's ki'ilu that it wasn't mechaper. V'chiper, right? So he says, well, 1 second, maybe it is going to be mechaper. My love the chiper ased the kodem b'afrasha lo kiper ased the smicha. Tav la'achar la'ased la'achar afrasha. So it's much more over here that maybe Be'emet, since he didn't do the mitzvah of semicha, it's not mechaper. No, semicha, you're leaning on the animal.
While you're doing the korban?
Before you're doing the korban, you lean on the animal and you do vidui. The leaning. Why do you think when you give a rabbi smicha, what do you mean? Now you're allowed to lean on him, right? But people use the rabbi as a doorpost. They only lean on them. Yeah? Oh, okay. So you kick your doorposts. Remind me when the next time I come to your house. Yeah? So says the Gemara, Amar Rava said this smicha kamarta. You're talking about a mitzvah to say smicha. Shana atam, it's different. The whole kama de lo shachit be'amud usmocha. As long as you don't do the shchita, you still could do smicha, right? So therefore, ema kahavi aseh. So therefore, it's going to be the aseh only after shchita. Lachar shchita lo kabim bailan. Obviously, it's not going to be a doubt because obviously that's it, right? After the shchita, there's nothing what to do. So Amale Rav Huna, right? But Yehuda l'Rava, ema. Why don't we just say then that it's going to be kiper gavra? The person that's bringing the olah and does not do the smicha, he's going to be mitkaper all the mitzvot aseh, and he's going to be saved from yisurim and everything, and he doesn't have to bring another korban as well. Yeah, vava mubet. So he says lo kiper, right? Kameshmaya, but when it says it's ki'ilu is no mechaper, to do with the Shem. Why? Because it doesn't do nachat ruach, because he didn't do the mitzvah min muvchad. Remember that if a person doesn't do mitzvah min muvchad, right, it doesn't do nachat ruach before Hashem. Some people write, there's nachat ruach. How do you do nachat ruach? You come to slichot early, mitgaber ka'ari, the first thing on the right foot. You come early, you wake up, you start singing, atanu lechalot, all the... atanu lechalot panecha. Ma panecha? אתה היית, panecha היה בתוך הכרית. Yeah, it was in the pillow. You understand?
When there's no kavanot, it's hard.
So says the Gemara, right, as follows: Lo kiper kamesh ma'ir. It's mitzvah Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because you didn't do mitzvah min muvchar. When you don't do mitzvah min muvchar, Hashem is not happy. So milo tzanan, did we learn va'notar b'shemen nashel al kaf v'chiper alav hakohen lifnei Hashem? Sheim natan kiper, that if you put the notar shemen on the head of the mitahed, it's going to be mechaper. And if not, no mechaper. These are the words of Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says shireh mitzvah, and it's only an extra, meaning that it's only like above, like a mitzvah min muvchar. Ben nitam, it's kiper. But it's ki'ilu you didn't do it. What does that mean? If it means that you have to bring another korban, you just told me beni tam nitan kiper. Ela kiper gavra lo kiper gaveshmaya. Chanami kiper. We mean that it was a kapara, but just to do with Hashem, it's not the best. You understand? It's like it's not the. So hatam nami sotu over there kiper matan behonot lo kiper matanot arosh. Fine. Tashema. Yeah, we learned to the Braita. Rabbi Shimon Omer. Rabbi Shimon says. Kivsei atzeret lama em bain. Right? Why exactly are they coming to Kivsei atzeret? Kivsei atzeret, says the Gemara, what are you talking about? It's shlamim. So ela seirei atzeret, my mean. Why do you bring a seirim? The seir, right? Why do you bring those? The he-goats. So he says, al tuma mikdash v'kadoshav. You remember when you go into the Beit HaMikdash when you're tameh? Or when you eat kodshim when you're tameh? Nizrak damo al shalishon. Once they sprinkle the blood of the first one. Shenido, so why do you bring the second one? Al tuma sheira ben zelezeh. The tuma that happened in between. So more me'ata, so we're going to see now. They were fitting to come and to bring the korban any moment, right? Ela shechiseh hakatuv, but the Torah is coming and telling us that it's going to be medayek in between. You see here, it's going to be mechaped, even though it's after hafrasha. So answers the Gemara, if you would have separated one time, you're right. But here we're talking about that you did it one after another, meaning you separated the two seeding two different times, and that's why it's a different halacha. Meaning you can't compare a case where you separated both once or you separated separately. Because if you're separating separately, I could say in between each one. But if you're going to say once, maybe right after that separation, there's no more. That's it. So says the Gemara, maybe the pasuk is talking about one after another. So he says, Papa, korbanot tzibur kamarta, you talking about korbanot tzibur? Shane korbanot tzibur de lev betin kametzin. It's lev betin. Because Rav Yehuda Meshua, just like when Shmuel says, korbanot tzibur sakin moshachtan lema shehen. The sakin is going to come and it's going to be moshech the way that it is. What does that mean? The shchita stam is moshecha v'kovatotam for that korban, right, at the beginning. That means even though it's not that korban mamash, for example, the Nola Tamid or whatever it is, so he comes and he says, but it's already going to be okay. So the reason why it's going to change is because lev betin matne, which means they could come and they can make the conditions, right? That's a betin. So Amaleh of Yosef Pered of Shmuel of Papa Umitle of Shimon, does he hold the betin matne alehen? Famar, I thought that he said, Rav Yidi Baravi, Amar of Amar Mitzchak, Amar of Yochanan, Tamidim Shelo Tzurchu Litzibur. When you have a tamid, korban tamid that was not required by the tzibur, right? Zayin Amud Aleph on the top, the Divrei Rav Shimon, and niftin tamimim. You can't just redeem it when it's tamim. But according to Chachamim, niftin tamimim. Ve'od, and furthermore, right? He comes and he says, "Ha ba mine Rabbi Yirmiyah Zera sira tzera shekibel dama mishne kosot." If you receive the blood in two different cups, v'nizrak moshel rishon, and you're going to spill, right? Sprinkle the blood. Why do you need the second one? Al tuma sheira ben zikal zel zeh, which means on the tuma that came in between the sprinkling of one another. Here we're talking about the aseh after the shchita, but aseh after afrasha. It's not a question. So answers the Gemara, Dilma im timtzalom kama. You're right. Maybe it's like if you want, you could say. Really, Be'emet, Rabbi Yirmiyah comes and he has a doubt after the frasha, and the seed is going to be mechaper alav. Now we're going to mention the tum'ah that happens after the shchita. It's talking about im timtzalomar. Mazeh hakavana im timtzalomar. It means to say, right, that which Rabbi Shimon says the seed is going to be mechaper. It's been zelazeh. The kavana is, right, the tum'ah that happened between one another. But tum'ah that happened afterwards, it's not going to be mechaper whatsoever.